This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everyone. I don't know anybody that does what he does, and that is caring for our dogs, helping us train them. But what's radically different, is he does it with caring, compassion, and empathy. He thinks like a dog. It's kind of amazing. I've learned so much ever since we got together with him. He is the man behind Misty Pines Pet Company in Pennsylvania. And that's just a piece of what they offer there. Dog boarding, grooming, they have the dog park, even cat boarding, but certainly behavior modification. And we're going to talk about that today and some of the resources that you can call upon, no matter who you are, where you are, to help you in your journey with your furry four-legged friend. He is Jeff Woods. He's back with us. Hey, Jeff, how you doing today?
Great, Steve. How's yourself?
Really good, really good. Thank you for these podcasts and the insight. You are just so genuine and easy to talk to. I don't think you've ever met a dog that didn't like you. I can't even imagine. That.
There's been a few, but not many.
Because they didn't get to know you well enough.
There you go, for sure.
So we've talked about some of the commands, sit, stay. I want to kind of elevate things for a moment here.
Okay.
And how we can train our dogs in those situations where it's serious, where they've run. You know, let's say that your dog is always on a leash. If you let him out, it's always in the backyard. It's fenced in. It's all safe. Door opens up. You go to, get a package from Amazon. Your dog takes off. Now your dog is bolting, and potentially a challenge. Could be traffic. What do you do, and how do you train your dog for that situation? So you say a word or do something where you stop them in their tracks, and then they come back.
Well, it all starts out the fundamentals, Steve, just teaching dog how to come to you with a piece of food and maybe a leash. You practice with distractions in locations. So dog training, there's a mathematical equation, just like algebra, chemistry, physics. There's numbers and letters and numerals, but in dog training, there's only four. And those variables of training is the amount of distance the dog's capable of working to and from you, under what distraction level, the duration, how long is it the dog can sustain that particular behavior, and also location. So if you want, by increasing and decreasing those four variables, you make what you're training more or less difficult. So for instance, you want a good recall. Well, you start the good recall just on the end of a 6-foot leash. You set up a distraction, you get a food lure in your hand, you get really close to the dog's nose, you stretch out your arm, present that distraction, and tell your dog, come, or this way. This way is our first behavior. This way just means to literally turn, get away from the distraction, and follow you. So you do that just with simple on the leash. We do that in puppy class. We do that in puppy preschool. And as dog gets older, we start increasing our distance from the dog, either usually going to a longer line. There's different size lines. We go to various different locations and different various distractions. If you want to train a dog how to be good in and out of the door, while you work in your house, you work with the door, open up the door. When the dog's about ready to go out, hey, buddy, this way, come here. And you train them on the line and along line, and also a good food lure, which I called in the previous podcast, $100 bills, really highly value food items.
You know what? Right at this juncture, I want to put that microscope on there. The high food value. So the rest of us, we don't really think of it. The dog treats that you buy, is one thing. And, many times, if you grab some fresh chicken, no seasoning, just, or piece of meat or whatever it might be, there's definitely high value there. At least I know it with my dog. Are there different tiers of treats depending on what you're trying to achieve with your dog?
Yeah, absolutely. I compare them to money denominations. So valued at $1 bill, $2 bill, $5 bill, $10 bill, $20 bill, $50 bill, $100 bill. So the really high value items, which I refer to as $100 bills, have that excellent palatability where it just drives the dog. Even the treats that they sell at stores sometimes aren't as valuable as things that you could get to yourself, and some of the treats are good. For instance, like cheese in particular, dogs like cheese, chicken,
Hmm.
turkey, and you would only use those valuable, palatable treats only in really important situations, emergency situations. You would practice with those situations. For instance, the door, you would use as $100 bill. Near the street, near cars, $100 bill. But you have the dog on the line, and you practice those. If there
Hmm.
is a situation you want your dog to be good at, you simply try to choreograph it as much as you can, and you practice that situation with that particular distraction, that location, and then
Hmm.
you reward with those $100 bills. And also for a recall, so for a whistle, dog can hear that's a high pitched noise. So we do recalls outside off leash. We always go to the high pitch whistle to get that dog to really come very quickly.
See, I've had my dog. He's not trained for that situation where he bolts out the door, so got to work on that.
We all
Um,
have.
but I've used the high value food, like, oh my gosh, I got to get him back. So I run the house, cold cuts, roast beef. He loves roast beef.
Oh yeah, high sodium. Lunch meat is good.
Never thought of it that way, but true. Um, and I've tried to lure him back with that, but he's got, I got freedom. I'm here. I'm going to go check out the female dog next door. This is great. This is great. It doesn't usually work because he's not trained for it. And, sometimes I'll try and throw it. Now I'm in, sort of desperate mode. I got to get him back. So I'm like, come on, like, here's another piece. Here's another, trying to create a trail back. But again, he loves the $100 bill treat. He's not trained yet but with the favorable outcome at that time.
Yeah, you need a set distract like squeak toys. So you devise things inside the home that creates a distraction, that creates that dog that has that high drive to want to chase it. You try to simulate it as much as you can.
So
Like,
tell us about that. Why would you create a distraction? Is that to distract the dog from what he was thinking? Maybe he was thinking, I'm running to the neighbor's house. That's what he's
correct.
thinking. So you
Yeah.
have to break that pattern with something.
Steve, it's impulse control. So we all have impulses. So that for a dog, and the general rule is the stronger the dog has impulse control, the more well trained it is that dog has been trained to control the impulses to do naturally what it wants to do. You train your dog to overcome that through training, through a recall, and rewarding them high value reward. There's all types of high value rewards besides food to drive that dog too. If your dog likes a squeak toy, call him in, throw the tennis ball in the house across the room. So when he comes in, he's chasing the tennis ball. That could be very well a reward for some dogs that really love squeaky tennis balls or squeaky toys. So you try to find what motivates the dog absolutely the best. And for dogs, it varies dog to dog. So it's all
Mm,
about motivation.
gotcha. Okay, interesting. Learning a lot here today. Didn't mean to cut you
Cool.
off about the high value treats, but
Oh, that's
uh,
okay.
heard
It's
about
important.
them. I always wondered. I always wondered.
It's very important.
So in that situation where your dog is running, how do you train?
Running off leash?
He just ran outside the door. Bad situation. Got traffic. What do we do?
Well, very good question. So a couple different ways to respond to that. So I had a client last week. We clicker trained a dog. So the clicker train is a clicker uh, sit, click, treats, sit, click, treats. So the clicker trainer is a reinforcement, which is nice. I had a client last about 2 months ago. They adopted a dog. They got out. The husband came home about 4 o'clock in the morning, opened up the door. Dog ran out. He's running up and down the street. Guy calling the dog. His wife's upstairs because it's 4 o'clock in the morning. She was sleeping. She hurry up, rushed downstairs, put her coat on. She had her treat bag and her clicker because she was just coming in, her and her husband, a week or two before we were clicker training this dog. They went out calling the dog. Dog wouldn't come. And what happened is she took her treat bag. She had a clicker there. She started clicking while they were calling the dog. They still didn't see the dog. She said she clicked it like 5 different times. And she said all of a sudden she turned around, the dog was sitting beside her.
Oh my gosh.
So
Oh.
what happens is when I teach the clicker, I always tell owners, teach your dog a lot how to sit, click, treat. Sit, click, treat. So what happens, the dog will associate the clicker with the sit and getting the $100 food item. So what happens, it becomes not only a reinforcement, but it becomes a process where it interrupts certain behaviors where the dog hears it. The dog associates that with the sit, the treat, and the click. So when the dog came over, she was so surprised. So she clicked it and trained it again, put the leash on it, and she took it in the house. So a dog
Mm.
associates something. That's what's nice about the whistle. So you blow the whistle, the dog associates that with the high value food item. So you would practice, if I lived in a house and I had a dog that tended to bolt out the door, I would practice opening up the door, closing the door, let the dog run out, blow the whistle, have the dog come in. I would just practice that, put a long line on the dog, let it go out further in distance, call it back in. A little bit of repetition goes a long way. The problem is we're not prepared for certain situations, so we don't train for the situations. So if you want the dog to be good around traffic and cars, then you would get your dog near a street that's safe, have your dog out on a long line or a shorter line, teach your dog, when they're out looking at a car, you call them in, you give them a little tug on that leash. You can use your clicker to simulate them to come in to sit. So there are various different ways of handling that, but it's all about just training the dog to the situation and trying to choreograph that as much as you can. And that would help very much so.
So with the clicker or the whistle, am I getting this right in that it's a signal, but it's also a distraction to refocus them?
Absolutely. Because the dog associates the clicker by coming in and sitting and getting your treat. You practice that so long. When the dog hears it, they associate sitting beside you getting a food treat. So you
Mm,
do that numerous times. So a lot of the folks, I teach that too, just as I call it a behavior interrupter. So
got
what
it.
it does, it interrupts the behavior of the dog currently doing something that you don't want the dogs, like those people that lost that dog and they learned from that. They clicked and the dog associated the click being beside you with $100 bill, clicking a treat.
Wow. For years, I use my mouth as a clicker, and it's those situations. Let's say we go somewhere and he sees a dog. Let's say it's an outside restaurant or whatever. I'm at a brewery, just I'm hanging around. You can bring dogs now, and he sees, and it's rare, but he sees another dog. Now he's starting to bark. And I don't want other people to take away their peace, so I'll just go, and he just looks at me, and it's almost the same thing. I took his
It is. It's
attention
a
away from the
behavior.
dog.
Yep.
Yeah.
Behavior interrupter. What's nice about the clicker too is, it's supposed to be a condition reinforcer, which is that's what you use it for. But, a lot of times people say, I just say good boy. I say yes. I say this. I said, that's okay. But the clicker is just like we do. It's a novel sound. So if a dog associates a novel sound with food,
Mm.
it's different. Where even though you say certain words, it's still a human voice. But the click it's consistent. The voice is affected by emotions. The clicker is not affected by emotions. It means one thing. It's
Mm.
like a real valuable tool. And mind you, see, I always tell folks, I say, listen, this is a $5 tool and give you $1,000 worth of training. You don't need a battery for it. You don't need a computer chip for it. You don't have to get it inspected. It never changes. The voice and emotions never changes. It just means one thing. It means something like really good. And that's why it's a condition reinforcer. I love the clicker.
I,
Love the
I'm
clicker.
I, I'm totally seeing it, Jeff. And even if you had a whistle, and whistles are great, but it sounds different depending on how you blow the whistle. It could
Absolutely.
there could be a variation there. The clicker is the clicker. Plus, for $5, you can buy one, keep one in your car, keep one in your bag, whatever it might be, in case you ever need it in those extreme situations. And to your point, the verbal command. You could call your dog by name. If it's from here to the wall, you're going to say it differently than if your dog ran out potentially into traffic. And I got to believe that's going to be confusing for your dog.
Sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is.
Wow. You offer so many different resources with dog training. You've shared some in the past talking about collars and things like that. Um, Also books. There's a couple of books that you have an affinity for. Can you share those with us?
Oh, absolutely. Well, we have a dog training handbook that we give out to our clients when we train, and that goes for our classes is really important. And I've learned a lot over the years through study of so many different great people out there and lecturers and PhDs and trainers. But I got to tell you a couple of them that are fairly recent that are really good. One of them is called Barking Up the Right Tree by Dr. Ian Dunbar. Ian's been a great guy over the years. I've learned so much from this dude. This is really a pretty cool book that just probably came out about a year ago. I would just really recommend this book. It's all about the science and practice of positive dog training. Has really good insight. Ian has really good insight about dogs. The other one's very entertaining, plus learning. And it's called Merle's Dog, Lessons from a Free Thinking Dog. Very interesting story about a free running dog out in Wyoming, and the guy takes it on to bond with it, and he learns so much from this dog. Very good, entertaining book. I really like this book. This has been out for quite a while, but I just want to bring this up.
Hmm.
Uh,
So, did I hear that right? That somebody in the story of the book, somebody found a dog in the wild and then befriended it.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And
That's,
it just, as the story goes on, he puts up, learning suggestions and insights about dogs as he goes through the story. And uh, very fun, entertaining book and learning book all at the same time.
wow. What do you feel when we go to train our dogs? Some of the bigger mistakes that we make. What do you think they might be? Maybe the
Oh,
top three things.
well, I think for one is dogs need a little bit more time to think. Sometimes people rush dogs too much. If the dog doesn't do something right away, they want to repeat it real quick. And as I tell clients all the time, I say you have to give a dog to think a little bit. They don't think as fast as a human, so they need time to process. I think that's one big suggestion is take your time with your dog. Sometimes people just rush your dog. I always say when I work a dog and the dog's not doing it right, I say one thing. I always say, what am I doing wrong? My communication to this dog's not right. So I have to
Hmm.
rethink it a little bit. So I think that's one. Probably the lack of consistency is another one. People just aren't consistent with their dogs, so they let the dog get away with something one time and they try to correct it the next time.
Hmm.
So consistency is probably uh, one of the top three also. And spending the time with your dog off leash if you can. I'm a big advocate. I explained this and we talked about this in other podcasts. I always say people, a dog is not a dog until you go out and hike with them. That's what I like about Merle's dog too. This guy just runs the mountains with his dog and they learn and they bond so well. So
What you said there, and you inspired me. I have to tell you, Jeff, it's I've never verbalized it. It's always in the back of my mind. That's where I want to be with my dog. We're not there.
awesome,
We're far from it. Um,
awesome.
he's a leash dog. I wouldn't even think at this moment of letting him roam free in the woods. But that is my dream. I really mean dream to be out there and us just kind of roughing it and hanging out, and then maybe getting him, putting him in a car and driving upstate or something like that. Just me and him. That is truly my dream.
Well, I wanted to see you come to your dream. So I want you to come see me. So our facility, we sit on 25 acres. We have a beautiful training center. You want to start teaching some basic stuff. Then there again, we start teaching one of the variables of training is distance. So you work on the inside, a large room, a fenced in area, a larger fenced area. So you keep building your distance, and pretty soon you're out open in the woods. You just don't take a dog and turn them out in the woods for the first time. You got to build up to that. So that's what we do here at Misty Pines. We just teach people how to hike with their dogs and how to train with their dogs. But there is a process.
We're just about out of time. Any final thoughts? And just this has been so impactful. Learned so much. Any final thoughts you might have for us?
Yeah, knowing that we're coming to our end of our podcast, Steve, and I really appreciate working with you and speaking with you.
Likewise.
Thank you for having me. But I did think about dog training and just want to tell everybody that, participating, I'm going to read this a little bit because I just wrote this up. So participating in structured training classes in guided dog-to-dog socialization plays a vital role in creating confident, well-adjusted dogs and equally fulfilled humans. When dogs learn, interact, and express joy, something extraordinary happens, Steve. Every tail's wagging, every playful bounce, every gentle nudge for attention triggers a measurable response in us. Our bodies release oxytocin, dopamine, natural chemicals that elevates our mood, reduces our stress, strengthens the bond we share with our dogs and horses, whatever animal you're working with. In turn, our positive reactions reinforce their happiness. It becomes a powerful interspecies feedback loop that benefits both ends of the leash. Engaging with our dogs, training, walking, playing, or simply offering a quiet moment of affection is one of the healthiest and most natural ways to support emotional well-being. These interactions nourishes our heart, stimulates our mind, deepens our relationships in ways that are both scientifically meaningful and personally profound. After decades of working with dogs and their families, I can say with confidence that helping people build these relationships has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my career. Helen Keller once said, "The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart." Nowhere is that more true than in the connection between a person and their dog. Dogs communicate constantly, but only to those who know how to listen. So,
Wow.
you ready to bring out the best of your dog and enrich your own life in the process? I invite you all to come to Misty Pines. Give me a call. Talk on the phone. Let me just help you get through the process because dogs are the coolest creature in the world.
Beautifully said. Thank you for that. And you know what, Jeff? I feel like you're a friend inviting us over.
Likewise.
I really do, though.
Likewise.
Like, with what you have there, the space, your approach and all of that, it seems like it's a friend. Come on over. I got a backyard. You want your dog to play, and I'll show you how to teach your dog. It's wonderful. And even what you read too, I kind of forgot about the dog to dog socialization because we're focusing primarily here on humans to dog, but that's an important aspect of it too. And sometimes, myself included, sometimes we forget about that, right?
Correct, for sure. So it's the simple things in life, and you talked about that at the beginning. We're so into computers and all the technology thing. Sometimes we forget about just the simple things of life that makes us good and happy.
Dogs are one of them. Thank you. I really mean it from my heart. What you do there and your staff at Misty Pines website is mistypinespetcompany.com. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Thank you again, Jeff, for what you do. And I really appreciate it. Love having you on here. I really, really mean it.
My pleasure, Steve. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We'll catch up soon. If the universe says so, the dogs say so, we will.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.